Hello, morning. How's everyone doing? First temptation was to talk about Facebook because it seems to be somewhat imploding. Sent out some tweets last night, sort of ranting and rambling about that a little bit, mainly because they're kind of launching features left, right, and center for your privacy when it's really stuff they were doing for GDPR, or if they did whip that together real quick, the question is, why now? All that kind of stuff. But, I talked about Facebook kind of all last week. I was working on that data dump tool, which I published and pushed out, and I'll drop the link again down low. Still working on a post to kind of summarize some of my findings and the bigger issues, but really I wanted to take more of a positive zone on today because I was thinking about maybe shifting a little bit around how I tackle Mornings with Mark. The original idea was, kind of talk about what I've been thinking about and what might become something more. That seems to be putting a little bit of pressure on me to deliver some stuff, and of course, it just keeps delaying and delaying and delaying. So what I might do is do this more of a kind of like a recap of what happened yesterday, what happened today, kind of the last 24 hours kind of thing, and sort of up-level that message from, you saw this, but here's what it means, or here's what the potential impact. So maybe more of a quick opinion show in the mornings. So I'm still kind of batting that idea around. But what I wanted to talk about today was a bunch of announcements that AWS made yesterday at the San Francisco Summit. So the San Francisco Summit sort of kicks off the Summit series for AWS. They're running summits pretty much every other week now up until the early fall, and they go around the world. And you'll see variations on what you heard yesterday at all these various summits. And now you may see another service announcement or two, but the vast majority of the time what you're going to see at the additional summits is sort of regional availability of existing services and local customer examples. So AWS does a really good job of kind of setting up that one event and then using it as sort of the cookie cutter to stamp it across across the world. So you can check out my tweets at MarkNCA from yesterday. I live tweeted the keynote, pulled out some important stuff. What I wanted to do was actually just turn and show you some of the things in detail, some of the new services or the features that went live, and give you a bit of a quick rundown. So I thought that might be cool. I'm going to switch over to my screen. At least, yeah, there we go. Okay. So you guys can kind of see this. I am going to hide that nameplate so it makes it a little bit easier. Let me adjust screen size a bit. There we go. Okay. So before I dive into the firewall rules, what I wanted to talk about was a couple of the AI announcements. So Matt Wood came on stage. He's the GM for AI at AWS, and he talked about sort of the levels of AI and how they've got the core infrastructure that you can build on, that hopefully you never have to build on. Then sort of this mid-tier where SageMaker, Amazon SageMaker really comes to the forefront. And a lot of folks are starting to experiment around with SageMaker, and you really should. It really abstracts away a lot of the effort required to get machine learning and AI models up and running. But before you even go that far, you might as well take advantage of some of the power that's available in the high-level AI services. So these are services where Amazon has created the model, they've tuned the model, they continue to tune it, and you just basically give it data and get back results. Now, the two that went generally available yesterday are Amazon Translate and Amazon Transcribe. Translate, I've just started playing around with, but I've been on the preview for Transcribe for quite a while. Transcribe, you give it some audio and it spits back text, which is amazing because now you open up a lot of possibilities. A friend of mine, Fernando Montenegro of 4051, had said last night, he's like, hey, have you tried it with podcasts? And I was like, no, that's a great idea though. That would be really interesting to transcribe your podcasts real quick and be able to read them instead of listen to them for those of us that are in a scenario where we can't listen to them or prefer to read. But what I have been doing is using Transcribe to take ideas that I'm just kind of spitballing into an audio file and spit out first draft posts of papers. And I found that quite useful and quite powerful. And it's a really cool service. And then Translate obviously can take any text and flip it around to any number of the supported languages. So good examples of AI at work. And then SageMaker's made these additional instance types, local mode, which is huge. They've open sourced the underlying containers they use and updated all the libraries. So SageMaker continues to be the best way to get your hands dirty at sort of multi-purpose ML and AI, whereas the Translate, Transcribe, Polylex, all this kind of stuff are more specifically trained recognition, are trained models that you're leveraging. So what I wanted to talk about was a couple announcements they made around security. And I'm conscious for time here. I don't want to keep just ranting and rambling nonstop. But a couple quick things, and they all add up to one big thing, which is they added the AWS Firewall Manager. So this is for AWS WAF. It's not for normal firewalls. It's for the AWS WAF and AWS Shield. And what it does is allows you to centrally manage AWS WAF rules across a variety of different areas. So really, it just helps consolidate multiple account, multiple regional deployments into one easier area to wear. So if you're an org user, you designate a firewall admin and you're using config, Firewall Manager will make it easier to automate and get a global view of your AWS WAF deployment, which echoes the AWS config updates that we got, which essentially AWS config will now aggregate across regions and accounts, which is huge because you used to have to set up config time and time again in each area and basically just automate that deployment and then pull in data from various places. Now you're going to get this aggregated view, which is huge, and this is another piece of automation tied together with the last one, and this is by far the biggest announcement from yesterday, is AWS Secrets Manager. So this is to help you store database credentials or API keys. We've seen breach after breach after breach where people have put secrets into their GitHub code, and it's backfired, obviously. This is a secure way to do it where you can control the encryption keys and manage these secrets properly so that they're never actually stored in the application, that they're just stored in a safe and secure manner that you can audit, that's automatically rotated. Like, there's all sorts of greatness in here. But the challenge is, and someone, sort of tweeted this out, I think it was Evan Kirstill tweeted this out, saying, AWS has made yet another set of security tools to help you automate this really difficult thing. And I think that's the wrong way to look at this. AWS is making it easier for you to get to the point where you can automate all of your security, because that's what you should be doing. The vast majority of people crying out because they can't get candidates with adequate security knowledge, that the security is such an overwhelming task. I agree, I understand. A lot of it stems from the fact that people are approaching it wrong. You need to be building security into the core of everything you do. We heard it from Werner Vogels, the CTO of Amazon, on stage yesterday. You need to be building security into absolutely everything that you do, and it makes it way easier. You get far better security outcomes. By the way, Randall is one of the senior tech evangelists over at AWS. You should absolutely check out his tweets, JR Hunt, on Twitter. He had some great stuff yesterday, and he's always on their Twitch stream. Same with Abby Fuller, all one word, ABBYFULLER. Hit up Abby online, see her tweets. Lots of great stuff from those two and all the rest of the AWS evangelism team. Let me come back on here. Hello. Key takeaway from the AWS Summit is AWS keeps giving you higher level tools that let you automate your security and build it into the fabric of everything that you're doing, because that's the way to have successful security. So obviously, I'm going to be talking a lot more about that in the coming days. I'm going to play around with Secret Manager a lot more, show you some practical examples of how that fits in and how that can try to drive some changes in your team. And I think the biggest change is not on the development side. The biggest change is going to be on your security team side, on how they approach talking to developers, talking to other teams within the organization to ensure that security is everywhere. But personally, summit season is always interesting, but I love to hear the fact that the vast majority of the keynote at the San Francisco Summit was dedicated to looking at how to be better when it comes to security by design, when it comes to building strong protections into your applications, because security, after all, is just making sure that whatever you're building is doing what it's supposed to do, and only that. So I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great day. Hit me up online at MarkNCA here in the comments. Always looking to talk about this. What are your challenges around security and building it into the fabric of everything you do? What do you think of the AWS announcements? Were they good enough for you? Is there something missing? Have you tried any of these services, or what's your opinion? Hit me up at MarkNCA. Let me know what you're thinking. Hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you soon.